Faerie.
Blue Spectre. My friend and I were walking just outside of the circle of cabins. It was a bright night with all the stars shining and the moon was well lit. There was a campfire going, and in one of the big cabins, there was a party going on with music and so on. We were walking and we both got a really weird feeling, as if we were being watched. We both turned toward the sea, and we saw a blue figure very tall, about 7 feet, walking through the trees. It made no sound at all. It was a bright blue and glowing figure walking through the forest. It was emitting a shimmery aura, and my friend and I both became very frightened. We shouted at whatever that thing was, and we were asking it what it was. We got no reply, of course, but we expected one. We stared at it as it walked away and out of our vision. We didn't dare follow it. We then ran back to the group of people at the campfire, screaming and describing what we saw. Another friend of mine claimed he was watching it from a distance not far from where we were, and he was just as frightened as we were. The man who watched them sleep. I am no stranger when it comes to camping, but when me and my wife wandered off the trail while backpacking in Maine, we had a rather strange encounter. We had prepared to be on the trail for 10 days, and so far hadn't seen another person since first hitting the trail. We had hoped not to see anyone else on our trip, so this was perfect. Normally, we just slept under the stars. One night, because it was drizzling, we set up our little tent and climbed inside for the night. Around sunrise the next morning, we crawled from our tent to see a man standing about 30 feet from us, staring. We greeted him, but without saying a word, the man turned and disappeared into the woods. We were out there for another few days and kept waiting to run into the man again, but we never did. Our dog knew something was wrong. I was camping in Big Sur, California with one of my best friends one weekend. We almost had the entire site to ourselves and chose a campsite about half a mile from the ocean in a large open field surrounded by a forest. We spent that evening sitting around the campfire telling stories. Afterwards, we climbed into our tents and we fell asleep easily. Around 1 a.m, something startled my dog. She is usually very calm and used to being in the woods, but this time she was yanking at the leash, desperately trying to get away. She pulled so hard that her harness snapped and she bolted across the field. I chased after her into the forest, where I eventually found her curled in a random clearing. I picked her up and carried her back to the campsite. We all hid inside the tent, but my dog refused to lay down with us. Her ears were up and she was staring intensely at the tent wall. At this point, me and my friend were almost on the edge. The dog's behavior didn't make any sense to us. Then we heard a cackling, a high-pitched laughter coming from outside our tent. It was so scary that we could hardly breathe. Then we heard screams outside, followed by laughter. We thought it could have been wolves or a coyote killing their prey, but it sounded far too human. Our car was parked too far away for us to bolt, so we just listened to the freakish laughter until it faded away.